My name is Keith, and these are my stamps. Episode 38, Belgian Congo, and the independent state of the Congo, also known as Congo Free State. Today known as the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's in Central Africa, the second largest country in Africa, and the 11th largest worldwide, with an area of over 2 million square kilometers, 905,000 square miles, which is similar to the size of Alaska, Texas, and California combined, about half the size of the European Union. It's mostly dense rainforest with mountains in the east and the southeast. This is a map of the area from 1890, courtesy of the University of Texas. It shows the Congo Free State. The name Congo comes from the Congo people. That's Congo with a K, though. Probably the name coming from their word for a tribal gathering that became the name of the tribe itself. In 1870, the estimated population was 30 million. In 1907, the estimated population was 9 million. Now, those estimates are two of many varied different kinds of estimates and should be taken with a very big pinch of salt. However, one of the main takeaways from the population is the reduction in the number between those dates. At the time, it was bordered by French Congo, British East Africa, German East Africa, Portuguese Angola, and the expanding British South Africa. Now, the Democratic Republic of Congo is bordered by Congo-Brazzaville, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Zambia, and Angola. French is the main language, with over 200 indigenous languages being spoken, the main one, Lingala. The first capital, well, I don't think we can call it a capital, but it was the base for Stanley to start his exhibition, was a small village called Vivi, which is just outside of Matadi there, the city of Matadi. The first real capital was at a place called Boma, which is a little bit to the west, closer to the sea than Matadi, until 1923, when the capital was moved to Leopoldville. I have not circled Leopoldville because it is now known as Kinshasa. The history is pretty grim, to be honest. The history linked to the European colonization began in 1876 when Leopold II, King of the Belgians, hosted the Brussels Geographic Conference with the stated aim of a humanitarian endeavour to, and I quote, improve and civilize the lives of the indigenous peoples in Central Africa. Leopold hired Henry Stanley, who people may have heard of from the Dr. Livingstone, I presume, who claimed vast areas of land in Central Africa in Leopold's name. In the early 1880s, Leopold embarked on a publicity campaign to try and legitimize his claim, offering, for instance, most favoured nation trading status to Britain, whilst telling Germany that no one would have favoured status. He offered France the territory that he had claimed in his name if he couldn't sustain it. He enlisted the support of the then US President, Chester Arthur. He travelled the world basically getting support for his plan. One of the main reasons why people supported him was that he said that he was going to stop slavery. The infamous slave trader Hamad ibn Muhammad ibn Jum'a ibn Rajab ibn Muhammad ibn Sa'id al-Murjabi, luckily known by the nickname Tipu Tip, had a base in the Congo. He had established basically a kingdom for himself where he was rounding up locals as slaves, thousands of them, and taking them via Zanzibar to Oman and the Arabian Peninsula. So Leopold II said that he would stop this slavery and all of these wonderful humanitarian ideas. At the 1884 Berlin Conference, the kind of whole of Central Africa was divided up. France had the area to the north of the Congo, which has since become the Republic of Congo and the Central African Republic. Portugal received the most southerly part, which is modern day Angola, and Leopold took the part in the middle. However, whereas France as a country controlled French Congo and Portugal as a country controlled Angola, Leopold as an individual controlled the middle part. It was not a colony of Belgium. He called it his own private property, and in 1889 he decreed that all of the land was state property, that is, his, meaning nobody local could own any of the land. And also, at the same time, he said that any harvested products, which were mainly rubber and ivory, could only be sold to the state, him, meaning that he could set the price, control the market, etc., etc. He also created a private army, which was called the Force Publique, the FP, who enforced quotas, particularly for rubber. And the Force Publique was initially set up with a lot of slaves who Leopold traded with Tipu Tip as members. And these slaves came from other areas of Africa. They weren't local to the area and had no links to the local communities. And they were overseen by Belgian officers. This Force Publique quickly became known for atrocities. The punishment for not meeting rubber quotas was death, and the chopping off of hands was ordered as proof of death, and as well as that, any relatives of somebody who didn't meet the quota also had their hands chopped off. And so mutilation was also used on wives, children, etc. There are well documented instances of rapes, burning of villages, flogging, torture as routine by the FP. In 1899, Joseph Conrad wrote The Heart of Darkness, based mostly on his experiences in the Congo. And in 1909, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, of Sherlock Holmes fame, wrote Crime of the Congo. Millions of Congolese died. If you remember those population estimates that I mentioned earlier, one of the reasons why that it's not known exactly is because the area was so vast. Another reason was that the numbers of people killed were just insane. Up to 50% of the population in some areas, many from the atrocities of the FP, but also from diseases such as smallpox and sleeping sickness. The British consul was sent to investigate after the publication of Heart of Darkness, and a quote from him: "The root of the evil lies in the fact that the government of the Congo is above all a commercial trust, that everything else is oriented towards commercial gain." So Leopold's original humanitarian cause and get rid of slavery didn't happen at all. In 1904, the Congo Reform Association was founded, which included members such as Conan Doyle, Mark Twain, Joseph Conrad, Booker T. Washington, and Bertrand Russell. And with their help, international pressure grew. Leopold said he would reform, but people weren't buying that. However, no country really wanted to take over the colony. Finally, 2 years later, Belgium agreed and annexed the colony as the Belgian Congo. By this time, though, Southeast Asia was producing cheaper rubber and the supplies in the Congo were greatly diminished. There were some immediate improvements in living conditions for local people, but the force publique continued, and much of the Belgian administration remained the same for quite some time. During the First World War, the FP fought against the German Army of German East Africa in 1916 and 1917. In World War II, the FP again fought against both the Germans and the Italians in various areas. In 1949, an ambitious 10-year plan was launched, which finally addressed some of the local issues and led to some strong economic growth. The 1953, the Congolese for the first time were granted the right to buy and sell private property in their own names. And during the early 50s, some of the most racist rules that had existed related to curfews, receiving services or not receiving services, and corporal punishment were relaxed, especially after King Baudouin's visit in 1955. However, laws banning mixed marriages remained, and between 1959 and 1962, thousands of mixed race children were forcibly removed by the Catholic Church and the Belgian government and taken to Belgium. Both passive and active resistance to colonisation had happened periodically across the area since the 1920s, but the provocation for self-determination and independence came with the independence of Ghana from Britain in 1959 and in 1958, from Ghana in 1957, and in 1958, de Gaulle of France promised French Congo that there would be a free choice between continued association with France or full independence. This, as I say, led to the independence movement in Belgian Congo really gaining steam, and the discussions progressed rapidly, and Belgian Congo acquired independence in June of 1960, taking the name the Republic of Congo. So did French Congo take the name Republic of Congo. Then, in the Belgian Republic of Congo, there followed rebellions, uprisings, riots, and even more problems. But that is for a later episode. The stamp issuing history from 1886 to 1908, stamps were issued for the independent state of the Congo, also known as the Congo Free State, and from 1909 to 1960 as Belgian Congo. The currency, 100 centimes, making up 1 Belgian Congo franc. The earliest stamps I have are these three from 1886 and the Congo Free State, or the independent state of Congo, all three showing Leopold II. You'll notice the left-hand one there has a very clear postmark of Boma, which was the original capital city. In between 1887 and 1894, a second series of Leopold II stamps. Here he is looking the other way, and I've written dates of the particular stamps there. Between 1894 and 1905, a landscapes series, which was the final set issued for the Congo Free State. And you'll notice the particular one to look out for there, the port of Matadi, top left, because that will be coming. In fact, all of them will be coming up again, because this set was reissued several times. Firstly, straight after the change, when Belgian Congo became Belgian Congo, only inscribed in French. There is, I think, still a big division in Belgium between the French and the Flemish speakers, and this was also true back in Belgian Congo days, where the Flemish native speakers felt rather overlooked, as pretty much everything was done in French, including the issuing of these particular stamps in 1909. You'll see again the port of Matadi on the left with a Matadi postmark, which is rather neat, and the railway bridge over the Impozo as in the last series, but with a different colour. There was a further reissue, this from 1910, this time with the country name in French and in Flemish. And here we've got Stanley Falls again, the palm trees, and a new one, the Inkisi Falls. One more reissue. This time there were some more colour changes, there were some frame changes, and some of them have the value written in words at the top. There you can see the French for 10 at the top. Interestingly, they don't appear to have put it in Flemish, even though they've put the name in Flemish, but the two that have the denomination written in words are both in French. These are all from 1915. From 1920, this is one of the set of first airmail stamps. 1921, some overprints and surcharges. On the left, the 1910 original has been surcharged with 25 cents, and on the right, it has been, or the 1910 original has been overprinted with 1921. This apparently was because after the First World War, there was a shortage of stamps. They were waiting for some new stamps, but supply lines were not good. And so they were using up the old stock. And to show that they were still valid, they overprinted them with the date at the time. So both of these are from 1921. More surcharges from 1922 as they waited for the new definitives to arrive. Some of them have bars over the bottom. You can see the two that in the middle that are overprinted with 10 cents. The lower one has bars which supposedly obliterate the 5. Didn't quite make it. But you have to be have your wits about you, pretty much like sorting any of these stamps. There's, as you've seen, so many different varieties of this kind of stamp. There's the original with the Congo Free State inscription, then the French for Belgian Congo, then the French and Flemish for Belgian Congo, then there are changes to the colour, changes to the frame, denomination in words, different overprints, different surcharges, lots to get your teeth into in this series. Finally, the new definitives arrived. These were issued between 1923 and 1932. I've put the dates of the particular ones here as we go through. This series showed different tribes and different crafts. And the latest that I've got is from 1927. From 1925, these two, 25 cents surcharge for the Great War Memorial Fund. And you'll see the difference, the stamp on the left inscribed in French, the stamp on the right inscribed in Flemish. The stamp in either inscription does not exist without the surcharge. 1928 now, and it's the 50th anniversary of Stanley's exploration of the Congo. According to his Wikipedia page, I quote, "Stanley's legacy remains the subject of enduring controversy, and his contemporary image in Britain suffered from perception that he was American." Although he was born in Wales, he took dual US and UK citizenship. He fought in the American Civil War on both sides, apparently, and was also knighted in Britain. He was extremely well known in his time, and as it says, his legacy is somewhat controversial. From 1931, more surcharges and overprints. New definitives from later in 1931, peoples and views of the Congo. We have the Sankuru River, top left, elephant at work, top right, Mangbetu chief on the bottom left, and the village of Mondimbi, bottom right. From 1934, some more airmail stamps. This, if you're interested in aeroplanes, is a Fokker F.7B/3M. Well, it's that even if you're not interested in aeroplanes. And this particular Fokker is flying over the Congo River. The 50th anniversary of the independent state of Congo. This shows all of the kings of the Belgians up until the point of the release of this stamp, which was in 1935, the date in the top right. The date in the top left, 1831, has nothing to do with the independent state of Congo. It's when Belgium first became an independent country with its own monarchy. And their first monarch was Leopold I, who is on the left. Leopold II, with the big beard, it's the second one. The third one is Albert I and Leopold III on the right. The date in the middle by the star, 1885, is the date that Leopold took control of the Congo. National Parks promotion set from 1937 to 1941. These four are all from 1938. A new definitive series in 1942. All except the first one. They all have French at the top and Flemish underneath, but those ones are also available the other way around. Flemish on the top, French underneath. From 1947 to 1950, there was a native art series. These are all 1948, except the top right and the bottom centre, which are 1947. Perhaps the most common or commonly seen of the stamps from Belgian Congo are these, the flower series from 1952. But their commonness doesn't detract, I don't think, from their beauty. I think it's a very nice set. 1954, the 25th anniversary of the Royal Belgian Colonial Institute, which was renamed later that year as the Royal Academy of Colonial Sciences, and then in 1959 was renamed again as the Royal Academy of Overseas Sciences, which it still is now. As I mentioned in the history part, King Baudouin visited the Belgian Congo in 1955, and these are two of the stamps that were released to commemorate that. A postage due stamp from 1957. A fauna series from 1959 showing a roan antelope, a white rhino, and a northern giraffe. And finally, the most recent stamp I have from Christmas of 1959, Madonna and Child. There were only a couple more sets issued in early 1960 before Belgian Congo gained its independence. So these are my stamps from the independent state of the Congo and from Belgian Congo, I should say. My name is Keith. Goodbye.